Hi everyone, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, guys. Thanks for joining on time. Niket, can you hear me?
Yes, Vijay, I can. How are you?
Great. Niket, if you'd like, we can wait for a few minutes for more to join.
Sure. Vijay, can you just give me a approximate heads up? How many guys are expected to join?
So we are expecting at least 30 to 35 people
Okay.
on
That's okay.
in every session. Yeah, this is the average, I guess. But sometimes it's lesser as well. So
All right.
yeah.
So I think we should wait till 8:05. Maybe we'll give 5 more minutes for others to join.
Yeah,
This is
sounds good.
a morning session.
Sounds good. 8-5 sounds good.
Okay, who can? Okay, great.
Yeah. I'll start at 8-5 then. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, anybody there?
Yeah, we are starting in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Niket, shall we start?
Yes, Vijay. Let's begin. Okay. Hi, everyone. Uh, I'm expecting you guys to unmute your mic at least for the initial 2-3 minutes, so that I know
Right.
who all are actually attending and others are just have logged in and they're doing something else or probably sleeping.
Yeah, actually, we can now start the session, and people will be joining as we move on.
Okay, great. Okay, so hi everyone. This is Niket Vyas. Unfortunately, my webcam does not work for my office system. I mean, for third-party applications like Zoom. So I'm unable to show you guys how I look like, how I'm what I'm trying to say is, it would have been much better if we were in person. I could you could read my facial expressions, I could see all, we could have a more interactive session. uh, so apologies for that. And so we'll begin with the session. uh, are you able to see my screen? One second.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, 1 second.
Nice picture, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Now I think my screen should be visible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's visible now. Yeah.
Great. Okay, guys. So before we start off, I just want to get a good idea about the audience that we have. So how many of you all have less than 3 years of experience? Can you all just unmute and just say your names so that I know who all are.
I'm a fresher. Not even a
Okay.
fresher student actually.
So it's just, I just want to know if you have less than 3 years experience, you could be fresher or you could have 1 or 2 years of experience. So you can just unmute and just speak out your name so that I know when I'm speaking with you all. So what is your background like?
Harshil.
Okay.
Abhineet.
Okay.
Samantha.
Mm-hmm.
Hi Aniket, it's Rohit. Rohit.
Okay, Rohit. Great.
Hi, Monica.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so I heard around 6 to 7 names, and others, assuming you all have more than 3 years of experience, right? Great. So, so the agenda for today's session is, so I am going to, share whatever tips and tricks that I have as per my experience, when it comes to hiring. So when you guys are, uh, going to apply for, different organizations, everybody is going to have their own way of hiring. So at a very generic level, what most of the companies uh, do, while they are planning to, hire a data science team. So what it is like, so if you guys, come across similar hiring challenge, what are the best practices to follow so that you all crack it. And I'm just going to be very honest and frank with how I have approached things, what I've heard from my colleagues, what I've heard from my peers, how they have cracked interviews in good companies, and they're having a happy life there. So I'll try my best to do that. So I'll give you a quick introduction about myself. So I am currently working as an analytics consultant for Bridge ITY. Prior to that, for around 2.5 years, I was working as a data scientist for another firm called Pentish Analytics. And at an overall level, what I've done so far in my career is I have basically started off as like a data analyst role. So where I used to just analyze the data, prep the data and all. And eventually I started moving towards applying the statistical techniques like modeling techniques to the data. And then once I started doing the technical job, I got a bit of hang about the business, and how these techniques are able to, solve the business problems. And then eventually and gradually I started, mixing all of this together. And now I'm at a stage where I'm able to, consult anyone, you know, right from, right from formulating the problem that they have, the problem statement that they have, translating it into a data science problem, solving it, and then presenting it in a way that these guys understand. Okay, so if you were to read this, so I've simplified, as much as I could. So if you read about my job role, so I just understand business problem, translate it to tech, try to solve it using whatever tools and techniques that I'm aware of, and translate it, to layman's terms, so that the business folks, who sponsor the project, they understand what we have done, and it's not, just technical jargons. And then I also make sure that the output is consumed, because what happens in the industry is, if you build something which is, nice and complex, but then in the end nobody's able to consume it or understand it, the whole effort is pretty much useless, right? Because you're having no impact. And then once you do that, you also, try to track, what you're doing is, let's say it works, on for how many months. So like on a monthly level or a weekly level, depends, on the project. We also track, how your solution is working, so that in future you will have good client testimonials, and you will also be able to proudly share, with your next prospect employer, that, the thing that I built is a robust solution. It's not just some experimental solution. Okay, and some of the problems that I've solved recently. So what I've solved is, I've solved fraud identification problems. This is specifically for banks. Then there is customer attrition, product sales anomalies in business processes, then high acquisition costs. So these problem statements that I've solved are mainly in the BFSI sector. And since most of my clients were banks and insurance companies, so my domain expertise lies in this particular sector. Great. So I hope you guys have a, brief introduction about myself here. At least you are now familiar, with the inputs that you'll be getting. So the problem statements and case studies you'll be getting will be more specific, to this particular industry. But you all need not worry, means I'll also try to make things very simple and understandable to guys who are, are from different domains also. Great. So at least guys, you can unmute and say okay at least once, so that I know how all are active.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks, Niket. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So one thing, I just want you all to ignore this slide for a second before I begin. So what happens, guys, is this question is apt. So what do companies want from a candidate? Okay. Now this, I'm being very specific to the data science or data analytics team, right? So what happens is, there is not a fixed requirement. I think the experienced folks will definitely agree. So for freshers and the guys who just have one experience, so this would be a new thing for you all, or learning for you all. So it's not like every company has the same requirement. So whatever you guys have studied. So for example, you guys are aware of some, ML algorithm, some analytical techniques you guys are aware of. So it's not like you study XYZ and then all companies have similar requirements, and then all the process also going to be similar. It's not like that. So since this field has been evolving a lot, at least from last 5 years, things have moved on quite a bit. So everybody has, very specific and niche requirement nowadays. So for example, for freshers, they will expect, you guys to know at least the fundamentals really well. Okay. So for hiring challenges for freshers, it is going to be a bit different. And what it is going to be like, so freshers, there could be a coding challenge. Now this coding challenge could be in a programming language like R or Python. And they'll also expect you to know some bit of SQL. Now, why do we need that? Because R and Python, obviously we know that you are able to do work hands-on, and SQL, because you should know, how to, extract data from databases, do some manipulations on the databases itself, and as per requirements come, you do not hesitate to, pull things directly from the database using R or Python. So that's why 3 things you guys should know, the freshers and candidates with less than 3 years experience, your technical expertise in a programming language like R or Python and some database like SQL is going to be, the basis for companies to evaluate you or even to, let you in, or it is going to be like a firewall before they call you for interviews. So I'll give you an example, how things work. So for example, companies like Fractal, my own organization like Bridge I2I. So let me just, share some, I'll show you the actual pages, how it is like. Mm. Are you able to see the screen, like when I'm switching tabs?
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Yes, Niket.
Yeah, so this is my company website. So we annually we have, a entry level hiring drive. Okay, so here mostly freshers apply. So here what we do is uh, it's very simple. So there is a place, where you register. So once you register, you start submitting your applications. So your resume has to be, very specific to the job description or the requirement. So if it is that, then the recruitment team or the HR is going to send you a test link. Okay. So in that test link, uh, adequate details will be given, about the test. So like I told you all, the test would have, basically your programming language, Python or R, and then some SQL related questions. And these questions would be not like 100% programming specific, like uh, how do you sort a data, what is a linked list related question. So it's not going to be that. It is more going to be data science specific. So they are going to test your data manipulation skills. Okay, are you able to transpose the data? Are you able to create some pivot tables in Python itself? Are you able to aggregate data? Okay, so things like that are going to be asked. And once you clear that test of this hands-on coding like Python and SQL, post that you'll be called for interview. So entry level candidates, this is going to be, most of the companies are going to have this sort of structure for you, because it makes sense also, since a lot of candidates are going to apply. First thing you validate is, do these guys have, uh, required skill sets? So that is going to be evident, since you guys have done some great atom course. Your skill sets piece is going to match in the resume. So first step you will be through. And for the second step, from my experience, I have a very good source, where you guys can practice before appearing for such sort of tests. So there is a website called Hacker Earth, if you guys are aware. How many of you guys are aware of Hacker Earth? Can you just unmute and let me know?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have given a test on this.
Great. So those of you who are not aware, you can make note of this site, Hacker Earth. Okay. And on Hacker Earth, let me just show you the main page. So this is the link, hackerearth.com/practice. So there are different, tracks like for mock interview, code mock. So things like this, like your basic programming, data structures, algorithms piece is good if you know. It's really helpful for, bigger organizations like Amazon, Facebook, Google and sort of stuff. So they focus a lot on your algorithms and data structures. You should be extremely good with this if you want to, apply for those organizations. And for all other organizations, or all organizations, at least your Python and your machine learning track, you should at least give it a look and see how much you know. If you do not know, you can visit these tabs and see what all other things that you should probably know of, or maybe you can just revise even if you know. Okay, so this is a pretty good source. And here, this particular piece, data manipulation and visualization, this is something all of y'all should focus on, the fresher. So because the most of the questions would be around this. Okay. Is this much clear and understood? Like,
Yeah. Super.
great. Okay, so this is for the freshers, how things are like, and this is the Python track. Okay, so what you guys should be aware of, because some companies, so it's not always going to be hands-on coding. So it is going to be like some questions would be MCQs, okay, multiple choice questions, and there'll be some questions related to coding and hands-on problem solving. Okay, so we'll come to that, how to solve those also, how do we manage time and such. But this was just to give you an example, so how freshers or entry level candidates are going to uh, be solving these type of hiring challenges. Okay, so let me just go back to the slide. Okay, so organizations like I said, that it's going to be very requirement specific. So I want you guys to speak up. Okay, so what kind of requirements have you guys faced, or recently, if you have started applying for jobs, what do you guys think? What do the organizations want, or if you're applying for some job role, what is your assessment? What does a company require? Okay, you can share your thoughts with me, and I'll add on. As per my understanding, what exactly we look for. When we are hiring candidates. So can one of you attempt? What do you think the companies are looking out for? Like any specific company that you have applied for, and you think, okay, uh, this is what they're looking for. Anyone?
Yeah, this is Nikhil.
Okay. Hi, Nikhil.
Yeah, I belong from the non-technical background and into the supply chain domain. So basically, in this field, what company needs is like right kind of attitude, basic operations knowledge, and the problem-solving skill they look for. So this would be like we would be given case study in front of table that we need to solve. So that kind of questions are asked in the interview.
Great. So key pointers from what Nikhil mentioned is he's mentioning about right of attitude and the non-technical skills that he mentioned. So it was basically business acumen, because he mentioned about some case studies, right?
Yeah.
So that is also a part of the requirement, and some job roles would definitely require this. Anyone who's applied for a technical job role, can you share your experience? What did you?
Hi, Nikit.
Yes, Nikita.
Last week I received a call from a startup company. It's Noida, and they asked me like my background experience is I'm an assistant professor in computer science only, and I have done MTech. So they asked me, you done BTech or MTech? I said yeah, I've completed my MTech in 2017. And they asked me like, have you done any like real time? Have you done anything on the real data set? So I said no. I'm taking training from Grey Atom, and I have implemented a lot of projects in dummy data sets, or you can say from Kaggle. So they said okay. So they just wanted me to do something in real data sets.
Okay. Okay, so guys, I think what Monica has mentioned is a very common problem. So guys who are trying to make a switch into analytics, so this is a very common problem. So things like this, okay, because see, if you don't meet these criteria, right, you won't be able to proceed to the round where we come to the hiring challenges. Where all these points that is mentioned on the slide is going to be evaluated. Okay, so what happens is just y'all can make a note of this. So the way you all present things in your resume, okay, first of all, do not use terms like dummy data, Kaggle data sets. Okay, you yourselves are giving them information which is not required. See, because what the recruiter is looking for is, so like things that are mentioned in technical skills, if you are able to solve things using whatever programming language or tools and techniques you're aware of. Okay, so if you're able to solve on a dummy data set, it's very natural that you will be able to solve on a real world data set, right? So do not make that mistake of giving them an illusion that you do not know how to solve things. Okay, so first thing first, just make a note that you have to demonstrate that you know how to solve things using this. whatever skills you have. I'm sorry, was anybody speaking?
Yes, Sushanta here. I just want to share my experience.
Yeah, yes, Sushant.
Yeah, so actually I am basically I have 8 years of sales and marketing experience. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2014, I switched my career from sales marketing to analytics.
Mm-hmm.
So I have got a training on the analytics in the 2014, and then I got an interview where I showcase. In the interview, they have asked a lot of technical questions, and they have asked do you work in the real data, how you have worked in the analytics environment in your present company. So I have sold myself as that I have already working, I'm solving problems for my company.
Mm-hmm.
And I have showcased all the things that I generally used to do in my previous company in sales and marketing, and showcase that I have also implemented analytics in that, how to improve. I have improved my business using visualizations, using dashboard, creating dashboards like that. So
Right.
2014, I have actually got my job in the analytics. So now, right now I'm working as a reporting analytics, but yeah, I joined Gratum to translate to data scientist from the reporting analyst.
Great, great.
So
Great. So, Sushant, as we proceed with the presentation, I am also going to focus, about the technical side of things. But since there are others also in the audience, who are trying to enter into analytics space, altogether. So that's why the pointers that I'm giving would be, generic of sorts.
yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So the points that you mentioned, I am also going to cover that, what would be required, to enter into data scientist related sort of positions. Okay.
Sure.
Great. Okay, so basically what I would want to share with you guys is your resume part, and things like what you know, you do not know. Be very confident. You should be confident that you know how to solve things. Okay, using your programming languages, because hiring challenges are going to be basis that. And for case studies piece, we are going to cover that in later slides. How do we tackle these case studies? Okay, but overall at a high level, what companies will look for is your technical skills. Like I already shown you the sort of material that you guys can refer. Non-technical skills would basically come from more experienced candidates, right? So things like a business acumen, project management skills. So for freshers, this non-technical aspects, you can only focus on time management. Okay, if you are able to demonstrate something that you have solved a particular project in X amount of time, that would be great. Your soft skills would be detected, when you guys have posed the hiring challenge, when you guys have uh, uh, an opportunity to talk with the interviewers themselves, when you have a telephonic round or so. And also your soft skills would also be visible, when you have to present your case studies in sort of PPTs, or when you're responding to their mails with your solutions or whatever insights you have. So soft skills are also evaluated there. Now soft skills are given more weightage when it comes to service based companies, like a company like mine. Okay, so most of the analytics companies will be catering to clients. So when you're dealing with clients, your soft skills will be one of the key criteria, to let you in the organization or no. But for product based companies, less weightage would be given to soft skills. So you all need not worry about that if you are going for a product based company. And problem solving is obviously the key requirement, I mean, for all job roles, because every organization, every team, every project is related to problem solving. Okay, so attitude towards solving the problem, the problem could not be of your already known knowledge base or your domain. It could be some other domain altogether, or something which you're not totally aware of, but your attitude towards solving that problem is something what organizations would want to see. So all these things I'll cover upon when we look at the real world case studies, how things are like. Okay. And just one added advantage is, if you already know the company that you're applying for, what domain they're working in, you do some bit of research and studies, that definitely helps. So this tip is basically for freshers because experienced candidates would already be aware of this. So just do a bit of research, before you're applying for that organization's test or something, what kind of domain they are in. If you know at least some basic terms in that domain, so your problem statements will make more sense to you. You'll have fewer questions then. Okay. So now, let me just quickly check on the chat window once. Okay, so guys, I just want to know, so how many of you all have already attempted some data science hiring challenge, or you're applied for some company and they have sent you some sort of question? You can just type in yes in the chat box. If not, then you can just type in no. Okay, so Rohit has experience. Khushbu has experience, great. Abhini does not have, okay. Monica has experience. Others? Okay, great. So guys, those of you who have experience, what you can do is, you can just, write, I mean, parallelly when I'm explaining things, you can, just type in somewhere, what were the challenges that you guys faced, okay? So when we come to that particular slide, you can just pop in and say, okay, you have something to share, so that others can also benefit from that. I'll also share my experiences, but it would be great if, more number of people. So let me just read out the names. So Rohit, Khushbu, Sushant, Monica, Samantha, Bhakti, you guys all can at least write down somewhere, what was a type of question or challenge that was thrown upon to you. Okay, and maybe how did you solve it, or what difficulties you face? Just try to summarize it in two or three lines so that we can, get max from this audience. Okay, I'm just giving you all a heads up right now so that by the time we reach towards the end of the session, all of us can benefit from that. Great. Perfect. You all can type in the chat box till then. Maybe we'll come back to this chat box later. Okay, and we can have a detailed discussion on that. Okay, great. So now the purpose, of having different type of hiring challenges is, I mean, why do we do this? Because we want to see that how, the candidates are able to apply that theoretical knowledge, to real world problems. So if you guys think about it from, the recruiter's point of view, or just, you should always think like, for example, you guys are hiring for our organization. Okay, so first things first, I'll give you a reality check. So data science theory, okay, only the theory aspect of it is broadly available nowadays. It's not like a rare thing like before, like 3 years back, 4 years back, when I was studying, it was sort of a rare thing. There were not much content. A lot of things had to be studied from, research papers and such. But nowadays there are too much content and courses available, so that, and things, people have simplified a lot of things. So course and content is broadly available. So just think about it. If you guys were able to get access to such content, there were many others also who must have gotten access to some sort of content or no. Okay, so it's no more a thing that if you know the theory piece of it, you guys are, ready for jobs or interviews. That is no more the case. It was the case a few years back, but currently that's not a scenario. Currently what we see is, okay, theory and stuff, details about, the techniques and tools, we expect you guys to definitely know that. So this is similar to, like few years back when there was an IT boom. If you knew Java, or if you knew languages like C++, the syntax and all, you could solve things. You were ready, for the job. Okay, so things like that have become very pervasive. Now everybody expects you to know these things. कि आपको theory तो आना ही चाहिए, आपको programming तो आना ही चाहिए. Now post that. Now already, let's say I have a pool of 10,000 applicants. Now everybody knows theory. Everybody knows how to, code. Now this is where I start, filtering out candidates. Now I want to see, okay, everybody knows these things. How many of them are actually able to apply this particular theoretical knowledge to my problem statements? So I'm the recruiter. So let's say me personally, if I am recruiting, let's say for a bank, or somebody in my financial services team, I'm going to give them a problem statement. For example, I'm just going to ask the candidate, okay, let's say if we are giving out credit cards to people, okay, how would you decide? I'll give a very vague problem statement. How would you decide that which person should get a credit card and which person should not get a credit card? Okay, so here there are some assumptions. I'll assume that the person knows about credit card. So this is where, your little bit of research about the domain will come into the picture. So if you are aware of credit cards, how credit cards work, you will be able to answer this question better. Then I'll be able to, I'll just wait for, how, you go about thinking, so how are you going to, decide whether a person should be given a credit card or not. So this particular question, this sort of case studies, the question that I've asked is basically for, candidates with less than 3 years of experience. So can somebody from the, let me only pick, okay, someone. So I want one of you all to attempt to go, how would you proceed? If I just give you a problem statement, like, let's say if I want to give credit cards to people, okay, but I want to be very choosy that some people should get credit cards, some should not get. Okay, so can anybody, help, how would you proceed, to solve this kind of problem statement?
Check their CIBIL score.
Wait, who is this? Who's answering?
Harshil.
Harshil, okay, Harshil. So Harshil says CIBIL score. Harshil, can you explain to others, what do you mean by the CIBIL score?
CIBIL score is the score that the bank gives you based upon the behavior with your bank. Like if you've taken a loan and paid it on time, your CIBIL score is high. But if you turn out to be a defaulter or something, then your CIBIL score becomes low. So
Yeah,
usually people with high CIBIL score can easily get a credit card.
Yeah, it's a basically your credit history.
Yes.
Great.
You're
So for
scoring based
freshers,
on your credit history.
yes, that's absolutely correct. So for freshers, the thing what these guys are mentioning, so you'll have to know a bit more about terms like CIBIL history. What is a CIBIL score? What is a credit history? Okay, terms like this would be required for you to know before you can start thinking about these lines. So I'm assuming, Harshil, you are an experienced candidate, right?
No, I am
Like you're not
fresh. I'm a student, in fact.
So that's wonderful. So being a student, Harshil is still aware about the CIBIL score, and Sushant being an experienced candidate, he told it's basically the credit history that the bank checks. Okay, so that's a good starting point. Then post that. Anyone else you want to add on? So one thing we saw is you would check that person's credit history. Then post that.
How long that candidate has been associated with that bank?
Okay, so to simplify, if we are handing out credit cards, if that customer is my own customer or no, and if he is my own customer, I would know he's been banking with me from how long. Anybody else? I want others also to start thinking and
Yeah.
speak.
Sir,
Hi.
Yeah,
Hello.
Sushant here again.
Okay, Sushant.
CIBIL score is just one of the, since I was in the banking,
Right.
as I've told, I worked in the bank only. So CIBIL score is just one of the inputs that used by the loan department.
I agree. Since I am also working, so I know there are many other factors.
A lot of factors. So
Other candidates.
Other factors like, is he employed or not? What is the salary bracket he is in?
yes, exactly.
Hello.
Exactly.
I'm
Even
sorry.
age is also important.
That's right. So experienced candidates who have banking knowledge, this question is not for you guys because you all know the whole process. This is for those who do not know about this. I mean, who are new to this. So So the objective I'll tell you, okay, why these case studies are given. So we want to know how the candidates start thinking about a problem which they are not even aware of. So
Hello.
whatever knowledge these guys have, so since you all have worked in banks, so you all know things like, age is a criteria. I mean, bank will have their own application score, and there'll be other like fraud related factors also coming in. Your regional demographics info. Yes. Who is it?
So about active, so Hitesh over here.
Yeah.
So active loans can also be a factor.
Okay.
So and
Then?
has he bounced the EMI or not, or he has paid the EMI after the due date? Can it be the factor for this?
Yes.
Right. So guys, I'll tell you one thing. Okay. The way to structure this is these sort of questions. Now, what you guys are doing is, since you all already know about the domain, you all are giving answers which are very specific. So things like, you all check whether the customer has bounced an EMI or no. I mean, he has not paid an EMI. EMI is due. So things like this, before you come to this part, right? You have, see, my question was whether to give a customer credit card or no. So what you guys should do is you should start listing down questions. What questions would you ask about the customer? So first question you would ask is whether this customer has any credit history or no. Okay, think what Sushant mentioned. Then if he has credit history, then the next point which was just mentioned was, if he has credit history, then you check if in his history, if that person has missed any EMI on his previous loans or any current loans or no. Okay, so questions that you write, right, it has to start from ground up. Okay, so because why do we want this? Because if you're able to solve things from the scratch, okay, your fundamentals are very clear about problem solving, you're able to structure things. So this gives a very good impression to the hiring team that you are very clear when it comes to your thinking process, your thought process. And you're also considering that if you are, let's say, if you are an experienced candidate and you are able, and if you are able to break things down so simple that a layman can also understand the process, what are they going to check and so it will give me an impression that you are very thorough with the domain, and you know what is the whole process, how things go about. At least your thought process wise, you are very clear. So, okay, if I am a customer, if let's say I am a bank, these are the questions that I'm going to ask the customer. And then within each question, you can ask, many sub questions. Whether a customer is above age of 18 or no. Okay, whether a customer belongs to this particular region, whether the customer has relatives who have defaulted on some payments or no. Okay, there could be many such factors. Okay, so key point here was structure your questions you ask. Okay, so before giving out answers, when a case study question is given, take your time, ask for some time, like 5 minutes or so to the recruiter. They'll probably give you more than 5 minutes. They'll give you 5 to 10 minutes to think about this. You just start writing down your questions step by step. So what is the first question I'm going to ask? Okay, then for sub questions, give it some time. Fill up the sub questions later. Okay, think it through, whole process, end to end. Till the time you decide, you're very confident, okay, now I've asked all the questions. If I get these answers, I'll be able to decide whether to give credit card to the customer or no. Now this could be how much ever you guys can think. If you are already worked in a bank, you'll know the entire process. So that's great. If you do not have, how much ever you can think of, you can list. And the best part about these kind of questions is when you start off, right, you have to be very clear. So how much were you able to think basis of given experience? So if you start off, you can, the candidate, I mean, the recruiter will already know what is your background, how much experience you have. Then you start off giving these answers. Then they'll be able to gauge, okay, this person has only, so much knowledge about his industry, but is able to think a lot about, this kind of problem statements. Some of them would be wrong, would be invalid, incorrect, but it's okay. At least this person was able to think so much. So that is my key takeaway from this answer. I do not want to know that if you actually know, what the process is. I want to know how much you are able to think. is this point very clear? Are you able to make, some sense of it? Can you use the chat window to at least say yes or no? Any experienced candidates you want to, share some additional inputs, when you guys are hiring, or have you seen, have you faced, some questions related to this case study?
Generally, from my experience, I find that people find.
I think someone is speaking. I'm not able to hear you.
Hello. Is it
Yes. Can you be a bit more louder?
clear? Yeah. Is it clear now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hello. This is Madhukar here. From my experience, I see generally the problem from the candidate side is that when you, during the interview or something, when you give them some problem and ask them the solution or something, or the structuring of the thought and everything, they are not able to finish that within a specified time. So time management is one of the biggest challenge, because interview is hardly 10 minutes duration or 15 minutes duration. So they have a window of only 2-3 minutes during which they have to synthesize their thought process and then come out with something. So
That's right. That's absolutely right. So Madhukar has shared a very realistic point. So this does happen. So it can be solved very easily also. So what you guys can do is, obviously practice makes perfect. So the more case studies you solve, practice. So I'm pretty sure Vijay will be happy to share, a lot of case studies with you guys. Vijay, you there?
Yeah, Niket. Yeah.
So if you can share, some practice case studies with all of them, and you guys can definitely look up on the internet also for some more case studies and practice that. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Why is this important is, and I mean, coming back to Madhukar's point, why people are not able to solve it in such time is because they face this kind of case study issue for the first time in their lives. Okay, so when you start off for the first time, you do not know how to structure things and time things. So if you have just 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes to think and structure, and if you have not practiced to solve these kind of problems, you're definitely going to struggle. So I personally, when I also started off, so for the initial 2 organizations, they had given me case studies. Same thing happened with me. The second one, I was able to at least, give them answers, and I qualified that round. But for the first one, I started thinking so much about the first point itself, and that most of my time went there, and I was hardly able to, give them some answers. So I'll also, share, what was the question that was asked to me. So the question that was asked to me was, how many crores are there in Mumbai city? So this was a question that was actually asked to me. How many crores are there in Mumbai city? Now, first thing, that came to my mind is, I have studied data science. Okay, I have studied Python programming. I've revised my machine learning algorithms. I revised the statistical techniques, how to do some sampling test and so and so. And this person is asking me how many crores are in Mumbai city. So initial thoughts that came to my mind is, is he even hiring for some data science team? Okay, I had some very odd thoughts in my mind going on. Why is he asking me how many crores are there in Mumbai? How am I going to answer that question? Okay. Then, I gave it that. Those were the initial thoughts. Then I thought, okay, maybe let me just start off thinking, if I were to just estimate, okay, how many crores are there? How would I start off with? What would I start off with? Okay. So that is where my actual problem, problem solving mind started working. So for these sort of questions, right? Now I'll tell you from the recruiter's point of view, why was he asking that question? He's not interested in knowing how many crores are there in Mumbai, right? How many of you guys think that he was really interested in knowing how many number of crores are there in Mumbai?
Take your thinking thought process.
Anybody here who thinks that he actually wanted to know how many crores are there in Mumbai?
No.
No, right?
No.
Let me just check the chat window. Can anybody answer? Not interested. That's great. Luckily, nobody's here who's naive enough to understand. Maybe he was interested in number of crores in Mumbai. No. And how many of you all think he wanted an exact answer, exact number of crores in Mumbai?
No, he just it is a guessed estimate question.
Perfect. Anybody else who thought of it? Please be honest, because if you think, then maybe I'll be able to, help, others will be able to help. Okay, that is not the scenario. Okay, it's great that nobody thinks. So
Yeah.
questions like this.
Hello.
So yeah, what was mentioned, these are guesstimate questions, guess
Hello.
estimate questions. You can Google about this also.
Yeah.
Okay, so these case studies, most of these case studies would be
Hello.
guessed estimates. Let me just type it in the text. Sorry, no, it's not guess. It is my bad.
Guess. Yeah,
Guess
guess
estimates.
Guess estimate.
Is my voice coming?
I'm sorry, I could not hear. I cannot hear you.
Yeah. Is the voice coming?
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
less.
Another thing is that sometimes this type of question asked from my experience, they are also about your ability to guess the maximum quantums. Generally in statistics, we talk about minimum and maximum.
Perfect.
For example, one of the question which we tried, how many helmets can be sold in Mumbai city?
Right.
So we can just try this amongst our team, for example, as an example.
Yes, definitely.
We are expecting only the number, not the thought process.
Correct.
Now let us try and attempt it now.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So
let us try.
Yes.
Let everybody
Definitely.
respond. How many helmets can be sold in Mumbai city?
Yeah. So things
Can
like this,
somebody
right?
come out with number?
Perfect. So what I'm trying to say is, when these sort of questions are given, right? Number of helmets in a city, number of crows in a city. So now these sort of questions are mainly as in MBA interviews, okay, these guest estimate interviews, and they will put in anything which is related to that domain. So somebody, let's say, who's selling cars, maybe they'll ask you how many cars are there in Mumbai city, whatever the organization is. Somebody would, if they are interested in, if it's, let's say if it is Mumbai Metro who's hiring, maybe they'll ask questions like how many people travel in Mumbai Metro in a month, in a day, in an hour. Okay, there will be questions like this. So the way to tackle these sort of questions is, this is not this is not an MBA interview. This is not somebody who's hiring management trainees right now. This is data science project. Now how data science comes into the picture is, now what I'm expecting you guys, how to answer is, I'm looking for data points. So if you give me an answer, okay, 10 lakhs. Somebody answered in the chat that 10 lakh. Now I'm not interested in the final answer. I want to know, how did you reach to these numbers? Okay, so how would you start off is, at least for data science interviews, if you ask these guesstimate questions, is you start building your thought process. Okay, so now if I were to, I'll talk about the crows example because it's more vague and more weird compared to helmet. Helmet still makes sense. Okay, so crows. So where would we find crows? Okay, to start off, if I were to count crows, where would I start? Why would I find crows? So back then I could think of garbage trucks. Okay, garbage trucks and places, where you would you find crows, maybe on some trees. Okay, so these are my initial 2 data points, so these are my source. So I would need some info related to, how many crows are spotted per hour or in a day on some specific tree. Okay, how many garbage trucks are there in the city? Garbage trucks, not specifically garbage trucks, maybe dumping yards are there in the city. Every society or some place, they'll have a place, where they dump all the waste, where you will find maximum crows. So first I'll have to start off picking up the data points. So where I start collecting the data, where is my data, basis which I'll, get to my numbers. So first things come there. Okay, initial thing. You have to start thinking about data points. Where will I capture these? Where will I get this info that I want to process? Once you get that, then you have to be very specific about the time frame also. That I'll be measuring, how many crows are sitting there. Am I able to individually tag the crows or no? It's not possible, right? All crows look like the same. Some crows might fly again, come back. So I cannot do recounting. So your knowledge about deduplication and all also comes into the picture here. Okay, so things like that you start thinking upon, you start building up. Then what happens is, post that, if you think, okay, maybe I'll just take a snapshot in a day. Every day, let's say from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. I'm going to sit and observe all these trees in the city and make a note. Okay, how many crows are there? Then again tomorrow I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do this exercise for the next 1 month, and then I'm going to average it out. Okay, so I'm going to apply some sort of sampling techniques. So your knowledge about statistics comes into the picture now. So now how did your sampling technique come to the picture? You randomly selected some trees in the city, trees or dumping yards in the city. You observed the number of crows there. You had some assumptions that at least 50% or 60% of the crows will be found here, or 10% of the crows will be found here. And then overall at a city level, I took a sample. I took only my sample that I took is only 10% of the trees or only 5% of the trees in the whole city. So my whole population would have whatever number you got into X%. Okay, so when you start forming up things like this, right? So whatever statistical knowledge is there, you know, how are you able to break things or data points you're able to collect? Now this gives me a very good impression about you. Okay, you are able to think it through like that, and not just basis your own intuitions and stuff. Because I am here looking for a data science candidate. I'm not looking for somebody who's just going to increase my sales and so. Okay, I want to know how much this person understands the data and the data problem side of it. Okay, so let me just quickly, you know, share. Sorry. So this was just a guesstimate example. So, you know, so that you guys, if you guys are faced with such sort of questions, you start structuring things properly. Let me just show you some examples, you know, not related to guesstimates, but other sort of hiring challenges that are asked, which are not basis or interviews. 1 second. So, some sort of hiring challenges which are very open to all, anybody can apply. So this is another one on HackerEarth. So there's an organization called Novartis, if you guys are aware. So they had a hiring challenge. I mean, it's already closed now. They have chosen their winners, and maybe those guys are offered jobs also. So this is for your understanding. If you guys want to, you know, what sort of hiring challenges are there, you know, so that you can, you know, upgrade yourself, upskill yourself accordingly. So this is just to give you an example. So steps will be mentioned, you know, how are you going to assess and all. Time would be given. So this is a one data science problem statement. You will be given some amount of time to solve. So now this time could be 1 hour, 2 hours. It could be half a day. It could be 1 day. It could be 1 month. Depends, you know, on how complex the problem is. So every organization will have a different sort of hiring challenge, and this particular one requires data science with 3+ years of experience. Okay, so this is for them. So other hiring challenges, for example, one which Fractal Analytics had, you know, for some NLP profile, I believe. So they have mentioned, you know, what are the different kind of job opportunities. What was the hiring challenge about? So if you guys want to start off, right, at least have a look at the previous hiring challenges the organizations had, different type of organizations. The one which you are applying for, just Google it, search about it, you know, what kind of, what is the hiring process of that organization? Did they held any, you know, hackathons in the past? Who were the winners? What were the solutions? So if you spend some time on research, right, about this, you practice, you know, some of the hackathons. Some hackathons will let you practice now also, the hiring hackathons, but your entry would not be valid now, obviously. But at least it would give you a very good idea, you know, what can be done and how much time would be required. So you guys do not, you know, miss up on that opportunity. If you already practice it, you are able to solve it in time and solve. I'll come to that, you know, how do we solve it in time, but at least make sure you guys refer to the examples, or, you know, search upon various hiring challenges. If you're in pharmacy domain, search about, you know, different pharmaceutical companies who have held such challenges. Speak to their data scientists, you know, connect with them on LinkedIn, connect to some, if somebody has written blog about, you know, how have they cleared those interviews. Another good source is Glassdoor. You can, are you guys aware of Glassdoor? At least of freshers. Can you let me know in the chat? Okay, so there is a website called glassdoor.com. Okay, you can visit here. So here you will know about the organization, you know, you will get some reviews. What is the interview process like? Let me just show you that also. So
Niket, I just want to launch a short poll for a few seconds on the screen.
Yes.
Guys, I'm launching a short poll as usual. Just a couple of questions. Quickly take it. It's on your screens now. Y'all can start. I would like everyone to take it. It's very important. Just a few seconds more. Thank you, guys. I think we can continue. Niket, you can continue.
Yeah, great. Okay, so for example, on Glassdoor, there is a section for interviews. Okay, so this interview will also have, details about, some of the hiring challenges for that organization, what were the sort of questions that were asked. Okay, so here, for example, you can see most questions are built around Amazon's 14 principles and so. Click on it, you'll get some more details. So things like this, if you go through, you'll be more prepared, okay, and you'll be able to solve things in time. Okay, so make sure you do this. So whatever organization you're applying for, look at the previous interview experiences. What are the challenges that these companies ask for? Do you have the skill set? If not, you can prepare and then appear for these for their coding challenges, so and so. Okay, so you should definitely check out Glassdoor and LinkedIn also. So LinkedIn also, these companies will share some of their own challenges which would be hosted on their own platforms. Okay, so this is what when it comes to when whatever problems or statements you're given, how can you solve it in time? And obviously these problem statements will have every challenge is going to have some different time period, like I said. Okay, so these are some case studies. Like somebody had mentioned, maybe we could do a guesstimate of helmets in Mumbai. So that is guesstimate type of questions. Now for data science specific questions, some questions would be given like this, like given data and promotional emails sent by company, data on order placed. Some tweets would be given to you and maybe you would have to, reply with what are the sentiments of those tweets. Okay, and then that company is going to check against their own personal score. So these are basically hackathons. Okay, but these hackathons will have a more extended time, or it would have a lesser time than usual. And the data set would be also small, but they'll expect you to solve it in X amount of time. So the more you guys practice solving dummy data sets, like somebody, so I think Monica had mentioned, right, dummy data sets, it will be easier for you to solve these sort of questions, because that in X amount of time, given this data, less amount of cleaning is required. You are able to apply some sentiment analysis technique and just give them the results. So I will share a real example which I had faced once, that some organization had sent me, and how I had approached to solve that case study. These are just some sample case studies, how we can go about it. And like we discussed, okay, so what type of questions these all these organizations are looking for, you to answer is, are you able to just pick up on that problem and start solutionizing? So like I mentioned about the crows problem, initially I thought, why does it make sense, does not make sense. Then at least I started building upon that. Okay, problem is given, now my only job is to solve it. Okay, so we start off with that. So your first question is already what we've discussed something. Now, can you work with messy real world data? So this is very, very important point. So maybe when you guys are studying, practicing, you guys have just applied some techniques on some dummy data, what is mentioned. Only difference between dummy data and real world data is very messy. I mean, there are lots of data cleaning required, data transformations required, till you guys are able to, apply some basic aggregates also on the data. So for example, if we stick to our crow example, okay, number of crows in the city. So even if you start collecting data, right, like I said, if you take a snapshot of every day, how many crows are there in a tree, you'll get some data points for every day. So when day comes in the picture, you will have a timestamp also, right? You will have a date timestamp. Okay, when was this data captured? Then combining that data, for the whole month, then analyzing some patterns. Okay, now the way that data is collected is also important. So in real world, what happens is most of the data is unstructured. It's not structured, like not everything is in Excel sort of form. Okay, it's like some OCR technique or some forms data was collected. For example, if you have applied for some forms, okay, let's say if you're taking admission in some college or some institute, or you have applied for some job interview, you have filled up some form. Nowadays, all these forms are digital, but let's say if you had applied a form offline, so then there was somebody starts to convert it into a readable format, into a electronic format. So there could be some errors there. Okay, maybe data validation was not done at some time. So let's say if there was a field which was asking for date of birth. Okay, now somebody has entered date of birth as just let's say 12th of August, and year is not mentioned, for example. So but that form still accepted that entry. And let's say if year was also mentioned, but that year was, let's say it was an invalid entry. It was like some future date or some very past date, like 200 years back or so. So issues like that do exist in data. And a very common data type issue is, let's say month and date are swapped. So let's say one date is 2308, other date is 3208. And so what happens in data, you'll have some rows with DDMMYY format, some rows will have MMDDYY format. So how would you solve these sort of issues? Okay, so this is where, this question comes in. Can you work with messy real world data? Because when you guys are working on it right now, this is not something what you guys would have thought of कि ऐसा भी problem हो सकता है. Okay, so this is the only reason why organizations ask you, okay, have you worked on some real data? Because there are lots of issues in the data that require data cleaning, a bit of thinking process. How would you clean it? How would you solve it? Okay, so what you guys can do is, if you start preparing your own data sets, maybe you can do some web scraping. If you're working, if you're already working, pick up some data from some team, just ask them for some sample and try to pick out, what sort of problems are there. How would you go about to fix it? Don't ask for ready-made solutions. Okay, once you at least know how it can be solved and all. If the person asks you, okay, have you worked on real world data? You can say no, but you can at least tell that I have worked on some dirty data sets and I have tried to clean it. Okay, and you can let me know about your organization. So what kind of data problems you have faced, and maybe I can try to answer, okay, how I can go about to solve it. Okay, if you make this case, it is going to be really helpful. Are you guys aligned with me on at least on these many points? Because I'm just speaking continuously, so I do not know if you guys are actually being attentive or no.
Hello, Niket.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually tried a project on COVID dataset. Could it be considered real world dataset?
Definitely. So questions and answers, right, regarding other thing, we'll take up in the last part of the session. When we have just left. Okay, I'll answer your question there. So Rohit, you are asking these are on NLP. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Yeah, the way means like the tweets question.
Yes, it was.
And can we apply directly means on an NLP job means as a fresher? If we do good projects on that.
Definitely. So when I summarize things, right, all your questions will be answered. You can definitely do that. So so this was this thing. Can you work on real world messy data? So just make a case that how to take care of data related issues. That's my only tip that I would give you on this. Can you structure on analysis? Can you produce useful report? These 2 points I'll cover it, when I'm showing you some sample case that, that I had tried solving. Okay, because these are the most important. Whatever you do, if you're able to present it well, whatever you have thought about, okay, if you're able to present it well and communicate the same to the stakeholder, okay, then only whatever, you know, efforts that you put in are going to give you some rewards. Okay, so these case studies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. In the second point, means working with the real world data set.
Yeah.
Means I also tried on that, like the scraping thing. Means, but can you suggest any good way? Means any good project that we can work on? Means just even vaguely.
Definitely. So I don't know if you're aware of Kaggle or no. Are you aware?
Yeah, I'm aware of Kaggle.
Yeah. So Kaggle, there are too many data sets. Don't just look at the what do we say? The hiring, the challenges part. Okay. There is data sets part also which is present.
Yeah.
There are too many data sets. I mean, endless number. So if you just explore also those data sets, then there are Google public data sets. Google public data sets are a bit more cleaner, to be honest. But on Kaggle, you will find many data sets. GitHub is also another good source, you know, where if guys have uploaded their data sets along with the code.
I majorly use these two sources, Kaggle and GitHub.
Great.
Yeah, but I was just asking, like, suppose means I have to create it. I was trying to create a, you can say, project on Indian data set, but I was not able to get the data sets. Means many good data sets online. So I tried for this to scrape the data.
Yeah, questions like this, you can connect with me privately also. So maybe I can give you some good resources and links, you know, where you can start off with.
Sure.
Share with me. I'll come to that. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Now the most important part is time management. So now again, this is very specific. Okay. So I'll start off answering with challenges where, you know, if you're given, let's say, 3-hour time span, you were to solve, you know, those Python questions, MCQs, and some SQL related problems. Now those questions would be basically for freshers. For experienced candidates, if you were given a case study and they'll ask you, okay, now how were you to, you know, solve this problem? So they'll expect you to build everything from scratch. Okay, including, you know, what IT dependencies would be required, what sort of team would you form, depending, you know, if you're a very experienced candidate, you have 8 to 10 years of experience or more, they'll expect entire solutioning from you guys. Okay, so for that also, you will have to practice. Now, the time percentages that is mentioned here. Now, this is also very generic. Depending on how you practice, you might come up with your own percentages, you know, how good you are with things. But at a very high level, let's say if you're given 10 minutes, okay, initially, if you just spend 10 minutes to think about the problem statement, you just structure things. Okay, you define how much have you understood the problem statement. So for example, if it comes to the helmets part, how many helmets are there in Mumbai? Question like that is given. Or question like, you know, if you want to solve how many, what is the sentiment of the customers given some tweets, okay? So how much you understood about the problem statement, you start clarifying your own thoughts. If you have some questions and if you have the opportunity, you can ask the employer themselves that these are my questions, can you clarify more? If they cannot clarify, you go ahead with some assumptions. So 3 important things. First thing is your understanding. Second thing is you ask for clarity if you're stuck somewhere. If not, then the third thing is you go ahead with some assumptions. Okay, assumptions like if you do not know certain things, let's say if you just ask helmets, now you did not ask helmets, I mean, for what time frame? How many helmets are there in Mumbai in, let's say, in January, August? Every month, there'll be a different number of helmets. It's in some particular area. So you go ahead with your assumptions. I am only going to assume that this is for Mumbai, let's say in the month of January, or let's say on a specific day, how many helmets are present, and so on. So whatever is your assumption, you list it down. Okay. So that 20% of the time, just spend time on, you know, clarifying your own thoughts so that you are very clear regarding to what you're trying to solve. Okay. Then what you do is your data cleaning and analyzing. Do not, so the common mistake that I also used to do is I used to look at the data set and I think इसमें तो बहुत ज़्यादा cleaning करना होगा. Okay, do not do not spend more time in that. In real world, you'll spend 80-90% of time doing that. But since this is a challenge, just focus on the key fields. So when you're defining the problem statement, so for example, I'll show you the real world case study. So there, let's say one of the questions that you were to answer. So your end objective was to answer how many helmets are there. So you just focus on the columns which are going to help you to give you that number. Okay, how many helmets are there in Mumbai? So you only clean that part of the data in this hiring challenge. Do not focus on other things. There'll be many other issues, some spelling issues, some columns. Let's say if there is a city column in which Mumbai is mentioned and another field is mentioned Mumbai, but their spelling mistake is there. Okay, so do not try to fix up those things. If you think that is going to help me in my aggregates, then only spend time on it. Otherwise, don't. Only focus on the key columns. Okay, and this is a problem which I'm telling you honestly, most of the guys, waste their time in solving unnecessary stuff or cleaning unnecessary data. Okay, so that's why your initial 20 minutes or more, 20% of your time is most important, so that this is what I'm going to do, and in that also prioritize. At least in my given time, I should be able to answer one question out of my 5 questions, for example. Okay, and give it priority. This is the least important stuff, and it is going to take most amount of time. Let me just focus on 2, 3 and finish. And then if I have more time, I'm going to take up the other 3 questions. Okay. Then after your data cleaning part, if model building is required. Okay, so for sentiment analysis piece, maybe you'll have to use an NLP package to work on this. Okay, if it was some loan approval problem, maybe you'll have to build some model on it. Okay, then there also in that time, see, model building is not a very trivial task, right? You are just going to call your packages. Only requirement here would be you would have to input the data, which is input the columns which are clean, standardized. Okay, and the model also you pick. Okay, you have to be very smart about it. If it is a classification problem, do not go ahead picking up some algorithm like logistic regression or so, which has some underlying assumptions about the data. Okay, so if you're very thorough with your algorithms, you know that for logistic regression there are some assumptions about the data that has to be met. Then only my model is going to fit well. Okay, so do not make that mistake of using that algorithm. Use something the algorithm which is let's say more complex. Okay, so things like if you use something like decision tree, okay, which does not have such assumptions, you can quickly build it. Your data, the data also that you've prepped is probably going to work for the D tree that you built. Okay, and you have already chosen some matrix. Like let's say if you're going to see some ROC, AUC of your model. Okay, just in your initial 20% of the time, you are going to mention this also, that if I'm building a model, I'm going to check for maximum AUC, ROC, whatever it is. See, in your hiring challenge, depending on the amount of time you have, the team is not going to focus, on how good you are with how much, let's say if your precision was your evaluation criteria, they're not going to see, how high is your precision. They're going to see, what process did you follow to get to that precision, and where all you can improve, at least you should be aware. So if you're submitting the code, at least you can comment things that I could improve upon here if given more time. At least just comment and proceed, so that even if they're going through the code, they know, that you could have spent more time here, and you are aware that it could be improved. It should not be like I tried my best, this is the best score I can get. That should not be the case. If you have ample of time, if it's a like 1 week hiring challenge, then you should definitely try out things, and there also you can mention, what you've tried or different things you tried, and this is my final solution. Okay, so model building just give around 20% of the time, and experimenting, tuning with parameters and all, it's best if you already have written your codes and functions and kept it aside, so that you can just reuse them. You need not spend time in coding. So what I do personally, I have my own functions written. So let's say how to split the data, some basic data cleaning activity. Let's say if it's a date function, what do I do? If it's some value, what do I do? Do I have to create some particular bins? I have already created functions for that. Okay. So if you guys are very focused on and applying for those sort of roles, better create your own functions which are reusable, so that in these hiring challenges, you can, ace it, and don't spend time creating those functions and other things for data cleaning activities. Okay, and last thing is presentation. If this organization is also expecting you to present it to the team, then you will also have to when you're defining a problem statement and all, also allocate time for the presentation, because this is where the game is going to change. Whatever you've done, if you're not able to communicate it properly, if you're not able to present it properly, the stakeholders are not going to be impressed with your solution. They'll just think, okay, this is some technical guy, I can hire some better technical guy. This is not a guy who understands my problem and solves my problem. So till you reach the last stage, if you're presenting it very well, people will just lose confidence in you. Okay, now presentation, these are some basic tips. When you're presenting, first slide should have all the questions on which the company wants, like regarding to the job role. Okay, so just make a note of that, so at least you are aligned and you understand what the organization wants. Okay, but what you can do is, whatever your solution is there, whatever you're presenting, put everything step by step and explain it like you were explaining it to some younger family members of yours. Okay, make things that simple. Okay, because most of your audience to whom you'll be presenting, they'll be non-technical guys. If they're data scientists, if they're technical guys, then put in all your technical findings. Okay, what all the different techniques you tried and so and so. Okay, you can be more technical. If it is just business stakeholders, show them the numbers that they're interested in. So coming to our helmets example, they'll want to know how many helmets were sold, how many were of a particular brand, okay, how many were of a different color, who were riding, let's say how many were scooter owners, how many were bike owners, so and so, how much ever you can define, give them insights, they'll be interested more in that. If you think your audience is a mix of both, try to add both the things. But again, understand these things, right? Here we mentioned a lot of points, but when it actually comes to solving, right, you will not be able to think it through ki, itna time itna sab main kaise karu. That's why your initial 20% of time that you spend, right, where defining problem and all, just write the key things ki at least I want to present one thing, present two things, three things. Okay, when you start off now, and when you start off with your this data cleaning exercise, model building exercise, parallelly open your PPT, and as soon as you start getting results, keep pasting the results. Formatting can be done in this later 20% of the time. Okay, so this is something which is very important, because most of the guys, they spend a lot of time doing these three things, and presentation they are very disappointing. Okay, I know that guy has put in a lot of efforts. I would have personally given him some more time, but then he could not manage his time properly. That's why his presentation was not so good. Okay, so this is a very important tip that I would want to give you all. Parallelly, just keep pasting your results. Okay, and formatting can be done later. And even if the company is not asking for presentation, they just want you to submit your codes and all, adding a presentation would be an add-on benefit. Okay, you will have, if you have the time, you will have an added advantage. Okay, that you are also able to summarize your insights. Okay, so this is something what this is a real world case study that I had experienced. Okay, so there was some organization for which I had applied long back when I was a data analyst. So they had asked for, okay, you can maybe, if you all can read through this. So it given me, 2 files. So these files had some information like this. So, some invoice ID was given, some bonus given. So another file also was very similar. Okay, and this was the exact mail body what was given to me. Some sales report, sales return, what business process. So initially to me, none of this made sense. Okay, because this was for some FMCG company, and me being from banking insurance domain, basically experience that time, I was like, "Arey, ye to kuch samajh mein bhi nahi aa raha hai. What am I going to do with it?" Okay, so how did I proceed with it? So these are the sort of mails that you guys will get. Okay, depending on the organization. So something would be given. So here, if I had some domain knowledge, it would have helped me a lot. So what I did was, I had already studied about this FMCG company before. So I knew something about the ops, how things work in that industry. But now things like SKU, PJP, and how inventory management works, how do we optimize it? I was not much, aware of things at this time. And what this person has done is, if you read the second line, it's freehand given the below explanation. And he has also mentioned, just provide some insights, any tool model works. Now he is not restricting me to something he is solved for particular thing. He's told me, I've given you the data set. Now just give me some insights of finding. He wants to test that how much analytically sound I am and what all I can do with that data set that is given, and data set was something like this. Okay. And what can be done, and what sort of insights that I come up with and how am I presenting it to it. So I was given, few hours to, understand this data. I mean, first of all, understand this problem statement, what I can present, and basically given this sort of data set, what I can do with it, is there any cleaning required, what would my client be interested in looking at the numbers. Okay. And basis that I created something. So I'll share that also with you. Let me see if I have it here. You guys able to see this?
Yeah, example case study.
Yeah, great. Okay, so what I started off with, I did not have much time. So like I told you, right, as soon as I start getting things, I put in PPT. So that was a client name, okay, and I gave him some heading. Insights by, I had given my name. Then what I do, I put some introduction field, okay, that what my presentation is going to be about, how much effort I put in. So I've made it very clear. So it's like a brief synopsis for that person. Okay, what am I going
The screen is on example case study only. I think we are not able to see what we are trying to show.
Okay, so this, I'll share the deck also with you. So this is the case study. Okay, so case study is not like a very given problem statement. It is an open thing. So given the data set, okay, what sort of analysis you guys can do. So this is the point I'm trying to make is, it's not going to be very clear. Are you able to read these things?
Yeah.
Okay, so things like this is given. Some data set is given to me. Okay, and he has just mentioned that provide some insights. It's very vague. So now he's expecting me to know the domain and come up with some sort of insights given the data set. Okay, so the case study itself is very vague. This is what I'm trying to explain or share with you guys. Does this make sense? I mean, I forgot who had asked.
Yes, now got it. Yes.
Okay. So because things like this will happen, okay, the client themselves are not very specific what they want. They just know they have some data and now you tell me what can be done. It's sort of that thing. Okay. What I'm sharing with you guys is what I could think of at that time and what I came up with things, in this particular hiring challenge. Okay. So what I did initially, whatever info it had given, I just gave him some introduction. So introduction here could be, I give him that the insights that I'm going to share, it will have 3 main segments, some sales executive, product stock and distribution. So what I'm doing in my PPT is I'm summarizing whatever you're going to see next. It's like an index that my whole solution of my case study is going to be basis this, so that the client is aware that, okay, this is what I'm expecting from the candidate. Okay. And other thing, what I mentioned, if you see, data hygiene related and distribution is not included in presentation, only first level insights are shared. Now, why did I make it clear? Because I had to be, I wanted to share with the person is that given the amount of time, I could do only this much. If I had more time, I could have done more. Okay. So if you're mentioning if you're mentioning such things beforehand, the client will also be a little more comfortable. He's not expecting, too many things for you in a few hours. Okay, then I started off with, whatever insights I got, from whatever tool I was putting. What I did is I started copy pasting, and whatever insights I got, I just started typing it in my presentation. Okay, and for the end user, the hiring manager, for him it was he just had to read through this like a report. Okay, so minority of sales executing your top one cell client products only. So this is my one insight, second insight, third insight, fourth insight, and everywhere where I have to show something important, I've underlined, added some things, highlighted a few things. What do I mean by this? Okay, I put my highlights and markers, so and so. Then some more charts and graphs, because business users definitely like to see some visualizations about the data and about the insight that you're sharing. Okay, so I shared something related to that. Some more insights related to some other fields. Okay, how were the distributions like? What I could do about it. Okay, and these are all things if he can take some action basis, that or no. Then this was some other insight related to some outlet section. So all this, what I'm saying, right, is all part of this initial insights, like these 3 different types. Okay. Then post that the last thing that I could see show was which particular chain was most responsible. These are my insights. What was the percentage distribution of so and so. Okay, correlations can be shown after collecting more information about the business. So whatever data set I had, I mentioned, and what could have been done more, I mentioned. Okay, so this is just to give you, a brief example, how, if you are given, how your presentation could be. Now, definitely now, given my experience, and this was a few years back, I could definitely improve more, do some more about given the data set. But back then, how much ever I knew, I put it up. Okay, so this was my experience, with one of the case studies that was shared with me in my initial days. Because for you also, since you guys are starting off, you might also create a similar presentation, present it in a similar way. You might also be given, such easy, less complex sort of data sets. So at least given these pointers, if you follow, okay, presentation has to be what, okay, how do you manage your time? What you should focus on is what is the client expecting from you. If all these things are there in mind, right, your hiring challenge is going to be very smooth. Okay, and you're definitely going to crack it, and maybe you will get a call for the interviews. Okay, so now maybe we can have some Q&As. And just one additional tip that I wanted to share is, so the hiring team, right, once they have given you a challenge, if it is a face-to-face challenge, do not hesitate to ask them questions. Like I said, right, you can ask them for more clarity, that what can be done and all. If you have some assumptions, you can share, and if not, you can definitely post hiring challenge, you can ask them more about the role and responsibilities, about the job, and you can also ask them that if you have some specific expertise and you would want to work in that, you can definitely ask about that also. Unfortunately, I took a bit of more time, explaining those points and few other things. So maybe
it was good, actually. It was good, seriously.
Maybe I do not have more time. Let me just ask Vijay.
Yeah, Niket.
Is it okay if we have 5 minutes more extended time for Q&A?
Yeah, not a problem. 5 minutes is fine.
Guys, are you okay?
Yeah.
Others,
it's a good session. Seriously, it's a good session. Please
can you just use in the chat box if you're okay with having 5 additional minutes for Q&A?
No problem, Niket. We can carry on with the Q&A for additional 5 minutes. Shouldn't be a problem.
Great, guys. So now whatever questions you guys had, right, we can pick up that, and I can tell you, how I could be able to solve it. So maybe I'll just look at the chat window. So first thing, okay, we'll quickly start off with Rohit had mentioned that he had appeared for a challenge on HackerEarth. So Rohit, can you tell us it was for which organization or what was it about?
It was basically, I had applied for a university, Plaksha University.
Okay.
but the issue I was facing was with means getting the, you can say, writing the code, means the format was little different.
Okay.
Actually, means it was the last day for the thing, so I got the mail little late.
Okay.
So
okay, so Rohit, for these things these sort of things, right? Whenever you apply for Chalana, beforehand search you if it's a big organization or a big university, just search how is the hiring challenge like, and you'll definitely get answers in forums and discussion pages where candidates will share their tips and tricks. For example, when I was applying for a company called PNG, so they have a different criteria, a different way of evaluating. So before evaluating the test, I went through some of the discussion forums. Also went on Reddit and I saw guys who got hired from there. How did they manage to solve that particular task and all. Okay, so you can just make note of this and you guys can practice beforehand before applying for these sort of tests.
I actually practiced later on also, means I also got the problem solved, but the thing was that still the means it was difficult to understand the format, like actually it will be little difficult to share, means like I'll share with you personally.
Okay, great. Yeah. Perfect.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, good.
Yeah, I was working on Kaggle and I was trying for this, means taking the I developed a repo called datasets and stored datasets over there.
Sorry to interrupt. Is this related to some hiring challenge or no? Some other related thing you can ask me in private.
Okay.
Because I want anybody to everyone to benefit for the hiring piece itself.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody else? I'll just look into questions. Okay, so Khushbu also had another thing. Khushbu, can you just brief us? Khushbu, are you there?
I have one question.
Yes.
I am working in this DevOps field with 1.5 year experience. So while making resume for data science interviews, will I, mention these experience in my resume?
I'm sorry. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Suppose we make a resume for data science interviews. So I'm working in the field of DevOps. So will I mention that experience in my resume, like skills like Jira or something like that? Or will I mention skills specific to data science field?
See, obviously you should highlight if it's for data science related roles, you can highlight for the your data science skill set, but also as an add-on experience, you can, below down in your resume, you can add your DevOps skills. And I think for this, Kritika from Grey Atom can definitely help you. I think she holds sessions for this resume screening and all.
Yes, guys, we'll be having sessions on resume building, LinkedIn profiles, all of that.
Okay,
thanks.
So right now, what I'm interested in, if you guys have already, attempted some hiring challenge hackathons, if you got stuck there, there maybe I can, give you some valuable inputs. Okay. So Khushbu, you're just sharing, that you got stuck with a basic question. So it's okay if you get stuck, but only one thing is when you're hiring challenge, right? Only attempt what you guys know. Okay, even if you think that this, for example, I'm just giving an example. If you think, let's say it's a modeling, if it's a classification problem, you guys have only studied decision trees and random forests and you know it very well, and you think कि XGBoost लगाने से better output मिलेगा, do not make that mistake. Use whatever you guys know, okay, because you'll be able to give them very you will be able to answer every question about the algorithm, how this algorithm works, what is the output, okay, and things like this. If you use something like a XGBoost, which you do not know much more about, the hyperparameters, how it works and all, you are going to lose your chance. Even if you submit in the hiring challenge, give a better score, eventually when you will be called for the interview, and if you're not prepared very well, it is going to backfire. Okay, so this is also one tip I want to share, because a lot of my batchmates who are sitting with me, back then I was only familiar with logistic regression because I had studied that algorithm really well, and others had, since XGBoost was one of the better algorithms back then, and it was just buzzing around everywhere. Every Kaggle winning challenge competition was being won by XGBoost, and people had just learned how to execute it also, but nobody knew how it works and so and so. So even though they had a higher score than me, when we were submitting the final application interview, these guys could not crack. I had advantage that even though my score was less, but I knew my algorithms and whatever process I did, throughout the hiring challenge. It was very basic, but I knew all of it, whatever I did, So I got an added advantage there. So it's just a learning, even though I did not make that mistake, learning from my peers. You guys should also avoid doing that. Okay, simple solution, robust solution, but you guys know what you have done and it makes sense. You are able to communicate the same to the other side. Trust me, you are beating 95% of the population. Okay, whoever is applying for the job role, 95% of the population is going to fail somewhere or the other. If you guys make note of these small things, right? You are there in the top 5%. Now, within the top 5%, you have competition. Okay. Anybody else? I mean, you all have some other questions. Please feel free to ask. I'll take questions for another 2 minutes.
Guys, you all can also connect with Niket on Slack for your question. Shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, so Slack, you can definitely connect with me. And if you guys are not there on Slack, you can connect with me on LinkedIn also. Okay, if, LinkedIn, I definitely, share some of the hiring challenges some of my client organizations have, my own organization has, or at least I like posts where, some different organizations are hiring or they have some challenges.
That'd be great. Niket, I think we are good to end now.
Great. I'm really sorry, guys. I took an additional like 10-11 minutes of yours.
Guys, our LinkedIn profile
a bit late, so that's why the stretch.
Yeah. Thanks for that. It was a great session.
Abhineet has asked for a LinkedIn profile. Are you sharing, Niket?
Yes, I'll just share.
Yeah.
You can just search for Niket Vyas. Okay, so maybe you will get Bridge Eye to Eye Analytics Consultant profile first or coming up in LinkedIn. Okay, and maybe you'll find Vijay and others also as connections. Okay, so guys, that was it from my side. You can definitely connect with me personally. Maybe on Slack you can ask some questions. Okay, if you are attempting for some hiring challenge, maybe freshers, maybe experienced candidates, if you want some additional inputs for how things happen in my organization, you want some tips and tricks, maybe you are not comfortable sharing, you can share with me privately also. That's totally fine with me. Just that I may not be able to respond immediately, but I'll definitely respond. Okay, so thanks everyone. That was it from my side.
Niket, I've shared your LinkedIn profile.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Vijay.
Great. That was a wonderful session, and thanks for joining the session this early in the morning. Thanks, Niket. Thanks for the wonderful session. Guys, I have shared the feedback form with you. It would be great if you all can just fill in your valuable feedback. Okay. Thanks, Niket. Enjoy your Sunday. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining so early. I hope I did not bore you guys for 1.5 hours.
Oh, no,
I hope
it was awesome.
some input you guys were able to take through from this session.
I'm sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Niket. I'm good to end the meeting. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Vijay.
Bye, Niket. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I'll share the deck and video recording with you all by early next week.
Okay, great. Thanks.